Hi guys, so 50% of notes is completed. Gautami has completed whatever people are pending, okay? Because you'll have today one more to write 3400. I mean, SAE ka notes also will be there. Let's see how it goes. First, let's understand 3400. We did yesterday 3400. Any doubt on 3400, guys? Examination on the prospective financial information. Any doubt on 3400? So it was prospective financial information. Two things were there for forecast and projections. When we talk about forecast, we use best estimates. And when we talk about projections, we use hypothetical assumptions. We talk about hypothetical assumption. Remember that concept, okay? Now we are talking about 402. I mean 3402. Now it is a standard. Understand the standard. It is an assurance report on controls at service organization. Assurance report on controls at service organization. So today we'll be starting with general auditing principle, chapter number 2 from the module. We'll be doing that also today. Okay, there I'll be teaching you 402. So 3402 and 402. 3402 and 402 is similar. This is standards on assurance engagement 3402 and that is SA 402. The name is SA 402. Okay. Now let me teach you from the perspective of first 402. So it is very easy to understand. Your client is AB Limited. Okay. And Ram. Has Ram come to the class? Ram, Jai Shri Ram. Ram, are you there? So Ram is the auditor of AB Limited. Okay. I'm talking about Ram is the auditor of AB Limited. So when Ram is auditing AB Limited, he saw that the company has outsourced. The company has outsourced it some services. Like for example, accounting services, payroll services, maybe inventory, stock keeping, warehousing, something they have outsourced. So the company will pay money and they have outsourced to TCS. And TCS will give them the services, any services, accounting ho gaya, TDS ka calculation ho gaya, then we have payroll, then we have inventory, stock verification, stock keeping, any services they have outsourced. So outsource is the hint. Okay. So when we are auditing, when Ram is auditing AB Limited, so AB Limited is using a service, in our example accounting services of TCS, correct? So AB Limited will be called as user entity. For the purpose of the standard, it will be called as what? User entity. Ram would be called as what? User auditor. The names are different here, okay? Basically, he is a start auditor of AB Limited, but for this SAE, he will be called as what? User auditor. TCS ka service they are using. So TCS will be called as service entity. One second. iPad got disconnected. Yeah. So TCS is called as service entity. And there would be a guy of TCS auditor. TCS auditor is called as CA Sham. He is called as what? Service auditor. He is called as what? Service auditor. Now, in the exam, when they ask you a question, from the perspective of CA Ram, okay, Ram, you are auditing AB Limited. AB Limited is using a service of service entity, that is TCS. The service ka name is accounting services. Now, what procedures, what you will follow at that time, which standard number you will follow? When the question is from the perspective of Ram, which standard number you will follow, guys? Ganesh, my friend, you are wrong. You will follow SA 402. You will follow SA 402. 6 months is internal audit. Here we are not talking about internal audit. So when a user entity has outsourced their services to a service entity, okay, outsource their services to a service entity. So you follow SA 402. SA 402. Shraddha, your name is also wrong there. 600 meter is using the work of another auditor. So Shraddha, you are also mistaken here. One second. Huh? So 402 I will teach you later on. Now understand the concept. They are asking assurance reports on controls at service organization. So Ram will ask AB Limited, what are the, for example, inventory. Where is your inventory? They will say we have kept the inventory with TCS. So TCS ka, Ram will contact TCS. First situation, TCS will say, okay, Ram, they have sent 1000 units, we have received 1000 units. There's a confirmation to the user auditor. TCS will say, okay, we can't give confirmation on the phone. So Ram, you go and visit TCS. So he will go and visit TCS. Okay, but there is one more thing. They can obtain, there is a report on internal controls. There is a report on internal control system. The report are of two type. Type 1 report, type 2 report. Type 1 report will say ICS is existing. That means it is existing. Type 2 will say ICS is existing and it is effective. ICS is existing and it is effective. ICS is existing and it is effective. So this type 1 and type 2 report is of the internal control. So my question is, Ram will ask in the example, Ram will ask type 1 and type 2 report of AB Limited or TCS. Ram want a confirmation for regard to inventory. The company has outsourced inventory to TCS. They are dispatching the inventory. So I am saying that Ram will obtain type 1 report or type 2 report. So my question is type 1 and type 2 report will be of the user entity, that is AB Limited, or service entity, that is TCS. Which entity, guys? Please write in the chat which entity. Of TCS. Of what? Of basically they will ask for TCS. See, because if there is a proper system, so here I don't need the value. I want to see what amount they have, what number of units they have sent. Okay. So I will obtain type 1 and type 2 report of the TCS, or if that is also not possible. Achha, one more question. In type 1 and type 2, this is the name of the report, and type 1 TYPE Roman 1, TYPE Roman 2. This is the name of the report. As per your judgment, as per your professional judgment, which one is more reliable, type 1 or type 2? Which one is more reliable? Which one is more effective? So logical, type 2, because type 2 will cover type 1 also. No, ICS is there and it is effective. Type 2 is reliable. Very good. Now, so you will contact the service entity, you will visit the service entity, Ram, you will contact service entity, you will visit service entity, you will obtain type 1 or type 2 report, or you will contact service entity coordinator. You will contact service entity coordinator, you will contact service entity coordinator. Basically, you will contact Yeshas. Brother, I want to know, AB Limited have sent 1000 units of the stock, whether you have received 1000 units or not. I will just take a confirmation. So we will contact CA Sham. Understood the background of 402? Same thing we will study all this, whatever I have said in 402. This essay is one step backward. So when Ram will contact Shyam, that is service auditor will give a report. Service auditor will give a report on what? On the controls of TCS. Service auditor is not a stat auditor. He is giving a report on what? He is giving a report on the controls at service organization. So this standard SAE 3402, whatever story I said, contact TCS, visit TCS, then obtain type 1, type 2 report, okay, or contact CA Sham, that is service auditor, that is all written in SAE 402. That is standards auditing when you are doing the audit, right? Now, when I talk about that, service auditor has to prepare. So TCS will contact CA Sham, that is service auditor, asking him to prepare a report on what? Reports on controls at service organization. Then which standard we will follow, guys? Which standard we will follow? Which standard we will follow? 3402, correct. So this standard is basically one step for behind, that is TCS is approaching CA Sham to prepare a report, he is also chartered accountant, to prepare a report on the controls at service organization, understood? If the question talks about audit, you will apply 402, that is from RAM ka perspective. When the question says service entity, you have to prepare a report. On the controls. Then TCS is approaching CA Sham. So this SAE 3402 is from the perspective of CA Sham, preparing a report on the controls at service organization. Understood the background? Now, please remember the example because that will be used when framing the answer. RAM is a user auditor, AB Limited is a user entity, TCS ka service they are using, to it became service entity. Sham is a service auditor. Sham is called as a service auditor. Now, first question. Explain service entity, user auditor, service auditor. Okay. Service entity, in my example TCS, refers to a third party organization or a segment of a third party organization that provides services to the user entity AB Limited, okay, that are likely to be relevant to the user entity's internal control as it relates to financial reporting. So inventory movement is a part of financial statement. So that is why it is important. User entity refers to an entity that uses a service organization, AB Limited in an example. User auditor refers to an auditor who audits and reports on the FS of a user entity. Stat auditor of AB Limited, that is basically CA Ram. Guys, is voice very low? I have not made any changes. Check, hello. Sukanya, can you just check it again, your volume? So I'll speak a little louder, okay? So user auditor is basically, in an example, CA Ram. Next. Service auditor, he is basically Shyam. It refers to a professional accountant, that means a chartered accountant in public practice, who at the request of TCS will provide an assurance report on the controls at TCS. So when you are preparing a report, you are not preparing a statutory audit report, you are preparing a report on the controls at service entity. Understood question number 1? Now, sir, why controls of service entity are important to user entities' internal control relating to financial reporting? Sir, why do we follow this? Why it is so important? See, inventory ka valuation amount will come in the balance sheet, right? Under the heading closing stock, so you will check that. But here we are talking about the controls at service entity. Here you have done the outsource. So I am interested in knowing the number of inventory also, na. So controls related to service entities operation and compliance objective may be relevant to a user entity's internal control as it relates to a financial reporting. So the first point says it is relevant. Such controls may be regarding the presentation and the disclosure about TABD. Transactions means P&L. AB means account balance, that is balance sheet items. D means disclosure, that is notes. Such controls may be regarding the presentation disclosure about the TABD, transaction account balance and disclosures. Third, controls at service entity includes aspects of the user entity's information system maintained by the service entity and may also include aspects of one or more other components of internal control at service organization. So TCS will maintain that AB Limited every 15th ko they send the stock, every 30th ko we do reconciliation. So that is an internal control at their end. So from there the stock ka movement is there. So Mr. A authorizes, Mr. B authorizes lorry ka receipt, Mr. C checks the GST. So that is a control at the user entity. The determination of whether controls at service entity is relevant to the user entity's internal control is a matter of professional judgment. Whether it is useful or not useful, who will decide? Auditor will decide. I mean the practitioner will decide. It is a matter of professional judgment. So it's a descriptive answer. Why it is important? Sir, it is important. It is important. First one, it is important. Number two, to consider the presentation disclosure regarding TABD. Third, controls at service entity will also include aspects of user entity and one or more aspects of the service entity. Then the determination whether the controls are important or not, it is a matter of professional judgment. Question number 2. Explain type 1 and type 2 report if available. Type 1 and type 2 report. See, type 1 is very simple. In simple words, I have said internal control system exists. Type 2 mein what you will say? Internal control system exists and it is effective. This is in layman language. But you have to write what is given in the standard. So standard says, understand, it comprises of service entity ka description of its system. Here also same point, it comprises of service entity ka description of its system. The description of the system. First one point says description of the system. Description of the system. Number 2, written assertion by service entity stating that the description fairly presents service entity ka system as designed and implemented at a specified date, and the control related to control objective in service entity ka system were suitably designed on a specified date. Sir, the system is as designed and implemented on a specified date. The system, the controls related to control objectives in the system were suitably designed on a specified date. So this talk about the system. One second. Sir, system is designed and implemented. Now there would be lot of controls in the system. This control, second point says the controls related to control objectives in the service entity system were suitably designed. These are suitably designed on a specified date. So first point, what will you say? You will say, sir, the system is as designed and implemented on a suitably and on a specified date. Second point, you will say the controls in the system are designed on a specified date. The controls related to control objective in the service entity system were suitably designed on a specified date. Third, same point. The description fairly represents the system is designed and implemented on a specified date. The controls related to control objective in the system were suitably designed on a specified date. Third, the controls related to control objective in the system as described is operating what? Effectively throughout the period. What will you say? It is operating effectively throughout the period. Exactly same it is. Simple, but my ICS is there. Here ICS is there and it is effective. So first point, we need to mug it up because it will be used in the other answers. First one, you will talk about the system. The description fairly represents that the system is as designed and implemented on a specified date. Then the controls in the system. The controls related to control objective in the system were suitably designed and implemented on a specified date. Third, here, the controls related to control objective in the service entity system as described are operating effectively throughout the period. Third point, the service orders assurance report that conveys assurance about the matters referred in point number 2. So this is a written assertion. This assertion will be given by the management. Service auditor ka assurance report. Service auditor, in our example, Shyam. Service auditor ka assurance report will convey the matters about number 2. Here, service auditor ka assurance report that conveys matter about referred into, that means these 3 points plus, and includes the description of test of controls and results thereof. So here one more point will come. Service auditor का assurance report that conveys the assurance about the matters referred in above and includes description of the test of controls and the results thereof. So this is a question number 3. Type 1 type report. It will be used in MCQ also. So read question 1, 2, 3, then we proceed. Read 1, 2, 3. Let me know if there's any point which you don't understand. And public practice means normal CA plus COP guy. We are called as chartered accountant in public practice only, no? Question 1 to 3 clear? Okay. Question number 4. Procedures for SAE 3402, that is service organization. I have written refer 3.4 page 321 main book, any 6 to 7. Can you guys open main book page number 321? Hmm. It says how such an engagement is proceeded with. Has everybody come to the page 321? How such an engagement is proceeded with. Okay. So now if you see this answer, it goes from page 321, 322, 323, 324 till here it is. 12 points are there, any 6, 7. Nothing relevant. All standard ka numbers, name and numbers. Just go with the heading. Compliance with ethical requirement. So the service auditor shall comply with the relevant ethical requirement including those related to independence. Then determination of management, TCWG and communication with them. So SA 260 it is communication with TCWG. So determination of whose management, whose TCWG and communication with them. Third, acceptance and changes in the terms of engagement, that is SA 210. Then assessing the suitability of the criteria, you can ignore this. Determination of materiality, SA 320. Obtaining the understanding of the service entity, SA 315. Obtaining the evidence regarding the description of the service entity. Obtaining evidence regarding the design of the controls. So first it was the system, second was of the controls. Third, regarding operating effectiveness of the controls. So system design, controls design and the controls are effective. Then understanding internal audit function, asking for written representations and subsequent event. So it is basically how you will perform, you will just remember the headings. So first, compliance with ethical requirements, determination of management and TCWG and communication with them, acceptance and changes in the terms of engagement, determining materiality, then obtaining evidence regarding the service organization ka system, then evidence regarding the description of the system, then description of the controls, then effectiveness of the controls, then internal audit function, written representation, subsequent event. Understood? So it's a direct answer, you have to read from the book directly. Okay. So we are skipping this for the time being. We are doing the next important answer. Written representations. What will be the matters of WR to be asked by service auditor? I hope you are this much clear that this essay we are studying from Sham ka perspective. I will be teaching you 402, there will be studying from Ram ka perspective. Here I am teaching you from Sham ka perspective. What will be the matters of WR to be asked by service auditor? So following are the matter. So the code is ARD. ARD में D में is DINA. ARD DINA. Reaffirm the assertion regarding the description of the system. 1 second. Who will design the system? Who will design the system? Guys, who will design the system? Management will design, correct? See, Sham is basically the guy who will be saying that controls are effective or not. Okay. Reaffirm the assertion regarding the description of the system. So, uncle, You please give me in writing that you have described the system and it is correct. It has provided the service auditor with all the relevant information as an access agreed. So assertion regarding the system, A, all relevant information access agreed. D, it has disclosed to the auditor any of the following which he is aware. What it is? DINA. Design deficiencies in the controls, instances where controls have not operated as described. Like for example, any error, like for example, any accounting system was there, okay. Any transaction above 1 lakh, you require approval of Mr. Director. Director approval is required, okay. And if there is no approval, then you should populate. I mean, it should be detected. Now there was few entries, 3-4 entries in the accounts in the ledger where the transaction was of 1,20,000, 1,30,000, but it was not populated. So these are the instances where controls have not operated as described. N, non-compliance with laws, regulations, fraud, uncorrected deviations attributable to the service entity. Non-compliance with laws and regulations, fraud, uncorrected deviations attributable to the service entity. Then A, any event subsequent to the period covered by the service organization description of its system up to the date of service auditor's report that could have a significant effect on the service auditor's assurance report. Imagine management have said that on 31st March 2024 the system was effective. We are preparing a report. Shyam is preparing the report on 15th May 24. So between this, any event must have happened. So any event subsequent to the period covered by the service entity ka description of its system up to the date of the service auditor ka report, up to the date of service auditor ka report, that could have a significant effect on the service auditor's assurance report. The code is what? ARD-DINA. So first you will say assertion regarding the description of the system, all information and access you have given to us, then disclose to the auditor any of the following which the auditor is aware. Design deficiencies and controls, instances where the controls have not been operated as described, non-compliance of laws and regulations, and any subsequent event. Events covered after the period covered by the service organization system and service auditor ka report. Question number 6. This so you know. Contents of report: title, addressee, date, place, sign, FRN, you did. Correct? Now in between what will you write? Identification of the criteria, the party specifying the control objective, because here you are talking about the control system. Then identification of the service organization ka system, those part of the system which are not covered by service auditor ka opinion. I am not covering all the control system. I am controlling those systems which are related to financial reporting. Imagine you have attendance record, or maybe you have some fixed asset system is there. I am least bothered about it. Then if the services are performed by sub-service entity, the nature of services performed by sub-service entity. Now what is sub-service entity? So we were using AB Limited was our client. We were using the service of TCS. So AB has outsourced to TCS. Now imagine TCS outsourced it to, let us assume, DMart. So this is called a service entity. This is called a sub-service entity. DMart is called what? Sub-service entity. Then a statement that the entity is responsible for, same point, preparing the description of the system, providing the auditor by the service organization description of the system, preparing the description of the system, providing the auditor regarding the description of the system, stating the control objective and designing the controls to achieve the control objective. So management is fully responsible. This so you know, a statement that the engagement was performed as per SAE 3402. Statement that it is a service auditor's responsibility to express opinion. What is my main objective? To give opinion on what? On the description, design of the control and operating effectiveness of that control. Description, design of the control and operating effectiveness of the control. So here, this is management ka responsibility. This is the practitioner ka responsibility. Statement that it is conducted as per SAE 3402. So all are same. Either it is startups, management, auditor and statement wala point. Read 5 and 6 because 7 is important that we do it later on. Read 5 and 6. WRs and contents of the report. Read 5 and 6. Done? Yeah. Subsequent, can you explain subsequent to service organization? This Dina का A वाला point, प्रेरणा. Any event subsequent to the period covered by the service organization. Prerna, that point only. Okay. Any event subsequent to the period covered by service organization system. Now, the TCS is saying, the TCS का management is saying that 1st April 23 to 31st March 24 में our system was ICS regarding inventory was existing. Guys, can somebody confirm, is the voice low or it is at the end of Sukanya only? Because here it is showing full voice. Sukanya, can you log out and log in again? Okay, now listen. So, TCS ka management is saying that ICS regarding inventory is existing and it is properly, it is effective. So, they have covered one full particular year, April to March. Now, when we went, I mean when Sham went to prepare a report on the controls regarding inventory, So, they went on, let us assume 15th May 24, they are preparing a report on this date. So, Sham is preparing a report on 15th May. So, I will be checking how obviously April to 15th May. Now, during this period, there was COVID, assume COVID, there was lockdown and there were lapses in the system. So, my question is, will you consider those events or not? Will you consider those events? Yes, subsequent event. Like when we talk about audit, we say na, any event happening after balance sheet that before auditors reported here, any event happening after the period covered by the management and the SAE auditor. So during this phase, management, you give us in writing any subsequent event to the period covered by the service organization, a description of its system up to the date of the up to the date of the service auditor report, 15th May, where that could have a significant effect on the service orders assurance report. So any subsequent event which have a significant effect. So any event happening between this date, this is management ka period, this is the service order ka date. Understood now? Then question number 7. What does question number 7 says? What additional matters are required? What additional matters are required in type 2 report? What additional matters are required in type 2 report? You remember type 2? Type 1 was ICS is existing. Type 2 was ICS is existing and it is effective. That was in layman ka language. But when we studied this, we said na, you will first define the description of the system. Number 2, written assertion by a service entity that the system is designed and implemented on a specified date. Controls regarding control objective are designed on a specified date. Third, controls regarding control objective in systems are operating effectively. So first you talk about the system, then you talk about the controls in the system, then you say controls are effective throughout the period. System, controls are effective. Correct? And there were two additional points also, and it will include description of test of controls and the results thereof, right? And it will include description of the test of controls and results thereof. The same answer will come in the next question number 7, module question it is. What additional matters are required in type 2 report? Sukanya, is the volume now correct? It shall include a separate section after the opinion or an attachment that describes the test of controls that were performed and the results of those tests. Test of controls and the results of those tests. It shall also disclose the controls were tested on all the items or selection of the item, that is sample, and indicate the nature of test. First, we will talk about test of controls were performed and the result of those tests. Number 2, it will disclose that the controls were tested on all the items or a sample of from the population. If the deviations have been identified, the reason, the number and the nature of deviation. How many times it was deviated? Like we have designed a control that any bill above 1 lakh rupees have to be approved by Mr. A. So the system should detect it. There were 7 instances, sir, where they have not detected. So why they have not detected? Number 7 times they have not detected, and the nature of deviation, that above 1 lakh a bill is not detected. On the basis of test performed, the service auditor shall state he has concluded that the related control objective was achieved. Related control objective was achieved. So these are the 4 pointers. What additional matters? So you will first talk about the system. Number 2, controls in that system. Number 3, that controls are effective. This is a normal point. If they ask what additional matters have to be given, you will say about test of controls and the results of those tests. Those controls were performed on all the items or on the sample and the nature of test. Third, if the deviations have been identified, the reason, the number and the nature of deviations identified. And basis of that, the service auditor will conclude that control objective is achieved. So these are the additional matters in type 2 report. Question number 9, we will do it from the book, hold on. Question number 10, documentation. Similar answer we have done in all the other standards also. Sir, what documentation the service auditor should do? The NTE of the procedure performed. Safe, I think the code was. Significant matters arising during and the conclusion reached. Then the procedures performed, the results of the procedure performed and the evidence obtained, the significant matters arising during the engagement, the conclusion reached, and the significant professional judgment made in reaching those conclusions. Similar answer is there in, I think, SRE also and in SRS also. Similar answer, documentation. Okay, so this is similar answer. Question number 9, when will the service auditor modify the opinion? Now, I will not teach you anything new. We will recall SS 705. Hold on. You need to answer 705. Modify. In guys modification, how many kinds of opinion were there? When I talk about modification, how many kinds of opinion were there? Qualify, adverse, disclaimer, correct? Now, there were 2 situations. FS are misstated, unable to obtain SAE, correct? FS are misstated, material and pervasive, material but not pervasive. Here, material and pervasive, material but not pervasive, correct? Material and pervasive, what is the opinion? Material and pervasive. We have discussed this in the class. Adverse. Material but not pervasive. Qualify. Unable to obtain SAE, material and pervasive. Prerna is wrong, Ashik is wrong. Material but not pervasive. Material but not pervasive. Qualify. Correct? Remember this only will be used when we modify the opinion. Here, what was our main objective? to check the system, description of the system. Then system mein there are controls, check the description of the controls. Third, the controls are operating effectively throughout the period, correct? So you are first basically commenting on the system, then you are commenting on the controls in the system, then you are commenting the controls are effective in the system. 3 points are there. This only it will be used. Now see, everybody come to page 327 main book. Can you see this? When will you give modified opinion? Understand, if my system is correct or my controls are correct or my controls are effective, all three are correct, I will give which opinion, guys? I will give which opinion? System is correct, controls in the system is correct, and the controls are operating effectively. I will give which opinion? Unqualified, unmodified, basically clean opinion. Correct? Now, when will you give modified? Just do the opposite. The service organization का description does not in all material respect reflect the system as designed and implemented. That was a positive sentence. In the answer, when we talk about type 1 and type 2 report, what do we write? The system presents the system as designed and implemented on a specified date. Here we are saying it is not designed and implemented on a specified date. Number 2, talk about the controls. The controls related to control objective were not suitably designed. There we say it is suitably designed. Third, in case of type 2 report, effective wala point, the controls which were necessary to provide reasonable assurance that the control objective stated in the service organization description was achieved did not operate effectively in all material respect. Correct? So first you would say system is not as designed and implemented. Number 2, the controls in the systems are not suitably designed. Number 3, the controls in the systems are not operating effectively throughout the period. Correct? Or the service auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence, the service auditor opinion shall be modified and it shall contain a clear description of all the reasons for the modification. So fourth is unable to obtain SAE and then you will do modify. Understood? So if you remember type 1 and type 2 ka answer, see type 1 is important because of type 1 we will remember type 2. That same answer will be flowing everywhere. First you talk about the system, then you talk about the controls in the system, then you say the controls are effective. It is type 2 report. And if you want to modify, just do the opposite. The system is not suitably designed and implemented. The controls in the systems are not suitably designed. The controls are not effectively throughout the period and unable to obtain SAE, we will modify. Have you understood SA 3420? Easy it is. Now, hold on. You don't open any book. Yesterday we have discussed question number 4. We are doing question number 1. Question number 1. Ayurveda Limited is a fast growing and award winning SaaS software company which is headquartered in Mumbai. It has office in the UK and provide cloud based professional service automation software solution to professional service organizations around the world. They want to engage you to provide assurance report for one of its major clients over the controls it operates as a service organization. So they are not asking us to audit, they are asking us to provide assurance report. Can you provide an assurance report? Tell me. Yes or no? Who can give assurance report on controls at service entity? Who will give? Sir, any practicing CA. So what it says, assurance report can be provided under SAE 3402. It applies only when the service entity is responsible for making an assertion about the design of controls. It does not deal with the assurance engagement. Then, this answer from the notes. Why controls at service entity are important? This answer. Question number 2. You will just say we can give the report as per SAE 3402 and then you will copy this full answer. Understood? So only one question was there in the model, old model. New will do it when we do all the 3 standards together. But have you understood 3420? 3402? Be very clear. 3402 talks from the perspective of CA Shyam. CA Shyam. The question if they talks about RAM and they will use the word audit or assurance audit report basically, okay, you will say it is basically standards on auditing if you are using is SA 402. SA 402. Clear guys? Cool. So chill for 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, then we'll start with the next essay and then I'll give you a long break. Once the chapter is over, then I'll give you a long break. Just relax yourself, get light, okay? Then we'll start with the next essay. But have you understood 3402? It's right now 37, around 315, 370, 315 we continue. 315, okay? 315 we continue. Welcome back, guys. Check, check, check. Hello. There, guys. Audible, visible. So we have completed 3400. We have completed 3402. Now we are doing 3420. Can somebody confirm? Okay. Now listen. So notes, I'll tell you how to do it when after. First, let's understand this essay. This came in the exam. Assurance engagement to report on the assurance engagement to report on the compilation of PFFI included in prospectus. PFFI, pro forma financial information included in prospectus. Now you guys are genius. Okay, all English medium students, correct? Full hi-fi English, full lecture in English. What does pro forma means? What does pro forma means? The word pro forma. Sample, temporary, right? Now it says assurance engagement to report on the compilation of PFFI which is included in prospectus. The situation is like this. So the company prepares prospectus. So what happens when we prepare prospectus? We take an assumptions. We take an assumption that we have raised money via IPO. Okay, imagine 1000 crores. Now we have not received 1000 crores. We will assume that we have received 1000 crore. So management will prepare the FS considering that they have received 1000 crore. That 1000 crore ka impact, that FS pay, whatever is the impact, they will put it in the prospectus. Somebody has to authenticate this FS. This FS is prepared on what basis? On an assumption that event has happened. Although it has not happened, it will happen in the future. It will happen in the future, but we are understanding the impact. Okay, boss, if 1000 crore is received, what will be my sales? What will be my profit? What will be my revenue? What will be my taxes? What will be my assets? Okay, we are considering that. It says, what is PFFI? PFFI refers to the financial information shown together with the adjustment to illustrate the impact of an event or transaction on unadjusted financial information. To illustrate the impact of an event that 1000 crore is received or transaction on unadjusted financial information. So you can take the example of merger. Like if merger happens or if acquisition happens or takeover happens, so what will be the financial information? So to illustrate the impact of an event or transaction on the unadjusted financial information as if the event has occurred. To illustrate the impact of an event as if the event has occurred or transaction on unadjusted financial information as if the transaction had been undertaken at an earlier date selected for the purpose of illustration. So it's an example, temporary. So sir, if imagine merger has happened, so how your financials will look like? So you adjust the unadjusted financial information. The PFFI may be in the form of P&L also, balance sheet also, and notes also. Balance sheet, P&L, notes. It is included in the prospectus. It is achieved by applying, remember this two word, pro forma adjustment to the unadjusted financial information. It is achieved by applying what? Pro forma adjustments to the unadjusted financial information. So pro forma means temporary. See, temporary basically we are assuming that merger has happened. We are assuming that IPO has happened. So that is our assumption to the unadjusted financial information. PFFI does not represent the entity का actual financial position or actual financial performance or actual cash flow. We are not talking about actual. Actual though when audit will happen, it will be prepared. Here we are assuming it that this event has occurred or this transaction has occurred. So this is what is PFFI. Number 2. So what are pro forma adjustments? It includes adjustments to full English unadjusted financial information that illustrate the impact of refer question 1.1, illustrate the impact of an event as if the event has occurred, or transaction on unadjusted financial information as if the transaction had taken place at an earlier date selected for the purpose of illustration. Same point will come here, same point. Adjustments to unadjusted financial information that are necessary for the purpose of PFFI to be compiled on the basis of AFRF, applicable financial reporting framework. So adjustments to the unadjusted financial information that illustrate the impact of, then adjustment to unadjusted financial information that are necessary for the purpose of PFFI to be compiled on the basis of AFRF. So this is the definition of PFFI and pro forma adjustments. Sir, what are the steps to be involved in the process of compilation of PFFI? Again we do. What are the steps to be involved in the process of compilation of PFFI? Sir, management का financial statements is there. It is unadjusted. Now we will attack. We will attack with what? Pro forma adjustment. So first you identify this. Where you are attacking, identify that. What you are attacking, pro forma adjustments, identify that. Sir, identify the source of unadjusted financial information to be used in compiling the PFFI and extracting the unadjusted financial information from that source. So first you talk about the unadjusted financial information, from where you are extracting it. What you are attacking? Adjustments. Make pro forma adjustment to the unadjusted financial information for the purpose for which the pro forma financial information is presented. So making pro forma adjustment. So make pro forma, what wall you will attack. So you can assume like this, there's a dartboard. So the dartboard is basically unadjusted financial information. The darts are pro forma adjustment. Now when you put this, it is very nice, it looks nice, presenting the resulting PFFI with accompanying disclosure. Presenting the, if imagine it reaches to the target. So you present the resulting PFFI with accompanying disclosures. So first identify the board. Board is what? Unadjusted financial information. Then identify the attacking, the darts, make pro forma adjustments. Third, present the resulting PFFI with accompanying disclosures. The compilation of PFFI is a responsibility of the responsible party, that is basically management. Who will compile the PFFI? Management. We prepare an assurance report on that. Cool. Again, 3 situations will come: before, during, after. Okay, that we'll do it later on. Read question 1, 2, 3. Read 1, 2, 3. Done? So PFFI is basically unadjusted financial information. On that you attack, it is called as pro forma adjustment. So unadjusted financial information, when you put pro forma adjustment, assuming that event has occurred or the transaction has occurred, it is called as PFFI. Okay. Now, before, what points to be considered by the practitioner before accepting engagement of SA 3420? Okay. Now, determine that the practitioner has competence and capability to perform the engagement. They're talking about us. The practitioner has a competence and capabilities to perform the engagement. Number two, determine the applicable criteria are suitable and the PFFI is not misleading. The PFFI should not be misleading because the PFFI will be compiled by the management. Determine that the practitioner will likely be able to express an opinion, so prescribe based on performing the procedure as per SA 3420. He will be able to express opinion as per the procedure which is prescribed in 3420. Then the sources from where unadjusted financial information is taken. The sources from which unadjusted financial information and any acquiry or diversity financial information have been extracted have been audited or reviewed. If the entity historical financial information has never been audited, never been reviewed, whether the practitioner can obtain sufficient appropriate evidence, understanding of the entity, its accounting and its financial reporting practices to perform the engagement. So generally it should be audited or reviewed. If it is not audited or reviewed, whether you will be able to understand the entity, its accounting practices, its financial reporting practices to perform the engagement. Then obtain the agreement of the responsible party, that is management, that it acknowledge and understand the responsibility for providing the practitioner with same 210 wala. He will give access to all the information, additional information that the practitioner may request from the responsible party for the purpose of engagement, access to those within the entity and entities advisors, that is lawyers, practitioners, consultants. And where needed for the purpose of the engagement, access to appropriate individual within the acquiry in a business combination. If you're merging, amalgamating, okay, if you're doing takeover, so individuals within the acquiry, that means your entity. So access to all the information. Number two, access to additional information that the practitioner may request. Third, access to those within the entity. Fourth, from the acquiry. One is acquirer, other one is acquiry. Where needed for the purpose of engagement, access to appropriate individuals within the acquiry in a business combination. So you will take WR from that. So this is an important, that means it's a model question. Then, what procedure to be performed while doing the engagement of SAE 3420? The code is CA Summer. The practitioner shall assess whether the applicable criteria are suitable as required by the framework for assurance engagement. The criteria is suitable. The practitioner shall assess whether the criteria are suitable as required by the framework for assurance engagement criteria. A. The practitioner shall determine whether the responsible party has appropriately extracted the unadjusted financial information. First criteria, has appropriately extracted the unadjusted financial information from the source. S. The practitioner shall obtain evidence about the appropriateness of the source from which the additional information has been, unadjusted financial information has been extracted. Appropriately extracted, check the source. Source have been proper. M. CA Summer. The practitioner shall obtain evidence about the appropriateness of the pro forma adjustment. Now we are talking about DART, appropriateness of the pro forma adjustment. M. He shall consider materiality with respect to evaluating whether PFFI has been compiled. Materiality, what is material, what is immaterial. R. He should obtain an understanding of how the responsible party has compiled the PFFI and other engagement circumstances. How responsible party has compiled the PFFI. The code is CA Summer. So first, check the criteria is suitable for the assurance engagement. A. Check whether it is appropriately extracted unadjusted financial information. Check the source from which it is extracted. A. Appropriateness of the pro forma adjustment. M. Practitioner shall consider materiality with respect to evaluating whether PFFI has been compiled. R. Responsible party has compiled the PFFI and other assurance engagement. So that is CA Summer. Then, what are the contents of WR in case of SAE 342 engagement, 3420 engagement, WR? Management will give WR. The practitioner shall request WR from the responsible party that in compiling PFFI, responsible party, that means management, has identified all the pro forma adjustment, Same point, to illustrate the impact of the event or a transaction, a date or a period of illustration, and the PFFI has been compiled on the basis of applicable criteria. Management will give in writing that in compiling the PFFI, they have identified all the pro forma adjustment, okay, all the pro forma adjustment to illustrate the impact of the event or a transaction and the date for the period of illustration, or the PFI has been compiled on the basis of the applicable criteria. 3-mark answer, 4-mark answer. They can use this in along with other answers also. Then, how would you express opinion on 3420 engagement? When the practitioner concludes that everything is correct, the PFFI has been compiled as per criteria. Which opinion? Unmodified opinion. Oh, it is not as per criteria. Modify the opinion or request for changes. If they are making the changes, it's very good. If they are refusing it, what will you do? You will withdraw or seek legal advice. So this is the full time pass. If the PFFI has been compiled as per criteria, who will compile it? The responsible party, that is management. You will give clean opinion, unmodified opinion. If they have not compiled it properly, you will modify the opinion or request for the changes. If the changes is good, if done, it is good. If it is not done, withdraw or seek legal advices. Last answer, contents of audit report. Title, addressee, date, place, sign, common. A statement that the engagement is performed as per SAE 3420. The responsibility of the management or the responsibility of the responsible party that in compiling the PFFI they have identified the pro forma adjustments to illustrate the impact of an event or transaction as on date or for the period of illustration, and the PFFI has been compiled on the basis of applicable criteria. A statement that the practitioner is responsible to express opinion that the PFFI has been compiled as per the applicable criteria. So you are not learning anything new. Whatever we have studied, we are using that only. Understood? So it is very easy essay, very easy essay. Procedure is important. CA summary is important. Okay. Read 4, 5, 6, 7. Read. Then we do the question. Done? So we have completed SAE 3400, 3402, 3420. Okay. Now if I open the question bank, if you see question bank, the question was discuss the significance of the PFFI including prospectus of a company. So this is the question number 1, define PFFI from the notes, definition of PFFI. If you see this question, define the term pro forma adjustment, that is question number 2. See, because this was a new standard, so direct question was there in the module. Now, in November 24 paper, hold on, November 24 paper, what happened? Five B. Now see the question. You need to see PQ Pharma Limited, company is dealing in research and development, manufacture pharmaceuticals coming up with IPU. PQ Pharma has prepared the prospective financial statement. Now, when I see this word prospective financial information, financial statement, my brain starts on 3400 also. And 3420. 3402 is on the service organization, correct? For the next 3 years and included the same in the prospectus as a part of its IPO. The prospective financial information included projected balance sheet, statement of P&L and cash flow, which are prepared on the basis of several key assumptions like favorable government regulation assumptions. They have used the word planned research and development of more effective medicines at reasonable prices. The company approaches CSE to provide assurance on prospective financial information and to assess the presentation and disclosure of the prospective financial information including the IPO. List out the aspects that must be considered for making such assessment. Now you need to decide and tell me this is 3400 or 3420. Don't get confused with the word prospectus, okay? It has been used to make confusion there. The company approaches CSE to provide assurance on the prospective financial information to assess the presentation disclosure of prospective financial information. Just because we have just done 3420, that doesn't mean that it can be the same. Presentation and disclosure of the prospective financial information. 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 The question was on 3400. Presentation and disclosure of prospective financial information. Same question it is. Question number 9 of 3400. See, 3420 is you are preparing PFFI. The word would be adjustments. Pro forma adjustments on unadjusted financial information. Those two words would be used. Then you will apply 3420. Then only you will apply 3420, or else you will always apply 3400. Understood, Prajwal? So it is not 3420, it is 3400. Understood, guys, the level of question? 99% this is the answer, because if I see this, somebody when have sent the paper to me, assumption disclose, accounting disclose, PFFI are properly presented, disclose applicable assumptions. I don't know. As per me, it should be 3400. But still, we will wait for the suggestion of the ICI. They are talking about prospective financial information. So, prospective is basically 3400 only. PFFI, pro forma financial information is 3420. PFI, pro forma financial information, prospective financial information, PFFI, PFI is pro forma prospective financial information, here it is pro forma financial information. Prospective financial information, pro forma financial information. So if it is PFI, 3400, if it is PFFI, 3420. People get confused because of the word prospectus. Anyways, you will use prospective financial information also in prospectus. Clear? Now, so 1 to 4 we have done. Now see question number 5, full time pass. The practitioner shall not accept compilation engagement. Nonsense. Compilation ka thing they have added here. Unless the practitioners agree to the terms of engagement with management and the engagement party if is different. In view of the above mentioned the responsibility of the management ka responsibility as per 4410. So this is SRS ka question. Same way question number 9. You are engaged by to examine and report on prospective financial information which the management of the company has prepared for presentation investor meet program. The company's in the vision document describe various plans and proposals of the company with projected financial goals and means to achieve the same and various benefits according to the economic development of state. What important matters will be considered by you while determining the NTE of the procedure to be applied in the review of the same. So here the question is, what are they saying? Refer 2.7. When determining the NT of the procedures, the following should be considered: the knowledge obtained during the previous engagement, management का competence regarding the preparation of PFFI, the likelihood of the material misstatement, the extent to which the prospective financial information is affected by the management का judgment, the sources of the information considered by the management, the stability of the entity का business and the engagement team experience. So this is a question which you have to do it from the new questions. So new questions have been added. Okay, we will, when we write notes, we will map it. Question number 9, I will note it somewhere. Question 9. Eighth. 3400 explain the prospective financial information can take form of a forecast, projection, or combination of both, right? Forecast, best estimates, projections, hypothetical, okay, or combination of both. In this context, how do you differentiate a forecast from projection? How do you differentiate forecast from projection? So it's a definition, forecast ka and projection ka. Also provide an example. So you write an example. Additionally, explain the nature of assurance provided by the practitioner regarding prospective financial information. Which kind of assurance we prepare? Reasonable, absolute, limited, moderate. We have discussed this yesterday. Anybody? Limited, moderate level of limited assurance, moderate, correct, Prerna, moderate. Let's check the eighth answer. So you are writing the definition of forecast, you are writing the definition of projection. So forecast. Example they have given, you can write any example. In the present market conditions, supply availability, historical buying patterns, the CFO of X Limited expects sales to increase by 5% of the next quarter. The 5% sales is a financial forecast for the period. On a best estimate assumption, projections. Okay, we may launch a new product, the company may launch a new product, you can say creating a new product to meet the demand of expected market growth. So that's a simple example. Now, prospective financial information relates to events and action that have not occurred and might not occur. While evidence may be available to support the assumptions on which the prospective financial information is based, such evidence is itself generally future oriented and therefore speculative, as distinct from the normal audit of historical financial information. Therefore, opinion as to whether the results shown in PFI will be achieved cannot be expressed. So you say it's a moderate level of assurance, whether it will be achieved or not achieved, we can't guarantee that. So this is basically from the notes only. Here. An opinion as to whether the results shown in the PFI will be achieved cannot be expressed, as it is future oriented and speculative in nature. So this is the answer. So one more question we got, question number 8. So we'll note out later on, okay. 7. One more on prospective. So prospective is important. Huh? Mr. Vineet has been approved by Q Limited to examine the prospective financial information. What factors should be considered before accepting the engagement to examine the PFI, and under what conditions the auditor should decline or withdraw from such engagement? What should be taken to formalize the terms of engagement? Before wala answer. I Pune. If the assumptions are unrealistic or the auditor believes the PFI will be inappropriate, we should not accept the engagement or withdraw the engagement. Question number 7. 7 from the notes. So this was so easy. 6th. Star Limited has outsourced its payroll processing function to a service organization. Okay. So the time you see the word outsource, either it will be 402 or 3402. Little Solution Private Limited. Okay. So the companies, one is Star, other one is Little. So I am using the same example ka drafting. Limited Solution is responsible for accurate preparation of payroll. So payroll, can I give an example? HR payroll and timely remittance of statutory dues to the government authorities. Little Solution controls related to timely remittance of payroll deduction to government authorities are relevant to the company, as late remittance could result in interest and penalty in the liability for the company. So Star is user, this is service. I hope diagram is clear. The auditors of Star want to be sure about the description, design and operating effectiveness of controls at Little Solution throughout the year. In this, they require an assurance from the auditors of Little Solution. Now they require an assurance from Little Solution, this company. So they require, the auditors of Star want something from Little. So Little will appoint somebody. So you tell me, they are asking the SA 402 or 3402? or 3402. So Little will ask their auditors to prepare a report. So it is 3402, correct? Now you tell me description, design and operating effectiveness of controls at Little. So they are asking for which report? Type 1 or type 2 report? Type 1 or type 2 report? Which report they are asking? Description, design and the effectiveness. Why only Ganesh is answering? Where are others? Sleepy potheads, wake ups. So it is type 2 report, type 2, very good. So first question, why the auditors of Star requires an assurance report from the auditors of Little Solution? Which engagement and quality control standard cast such kind of responsibility upon the auditor? Which engagement? Which standard? You have to write the standard ka number now. 3402. 3402. And the question is why the auditors want? Question number, I think 1 or 2. This. Why controls of service entity are important? This answer. That is first question. Okay. Why it is important? This we have discussed. Which type of report? Sir, type 2 report. Description of the system. Description of the controls. Effectiveness of the controls at the service organization. Okay. State the matters on which opinion. What I have just said. State the matters. Service organization system had been designed and implemented throughout the period. The controls related to control objectives are suitably designed throughout the specified period. The controls as stated in the description were achieved operating effectively throughout the specified period. Same thing. First you talk about the system. Second you talk about the controls. Third you talk about the controls are effective throughout the period. So here they have defined type 1 and type 2 report also. So here they have given reference on both. 402 casts responsibility on the user auditor and 3402 talks up on the responsibility of the management, service entity will ask a practitioner. So you will give reference of both 402 and 3402. Understood? So this is also an interesting question. So I am writing all 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, in the notes. Six, 7, 8, 9 module. Page 11.34. Understood? Chapter is over. So one more chapter is done. We will not write the notes of this chapter. I have given you the homework of digital audit. Okay. So digital audit is basically 24 sides. Now understand what I am trying to say. If you have written half, that's good. If you have not written, you will write it by today. You will leave 24 sides because I will be starting chapter number 2, general auditing, wherein I have to write with you. I mean, we will write together. So after digital audit, we'll be writing general auditing. Once general auditing is over, you will copy this. Is it fine with you guys? Digital audit we will complete. I mean, you will complete. I'll be teaching you general auditing wala chapter, wherein we have all IPCC level ka essay, which in I have to draw charts and you will copy those charts together with me. Once general auditing is over, then you will write this standard, this chapter. Works for everybody?